An Obama campaign event in Hollywood in 2012. Michele Eve Sandberg, Corbis via Getty Images. Much of the political commentary since the presidential election has focused on two groups of party switchers, those who voted for Barack Obama in 2012 and Donald Trump in 2016, and those who voted for Mitt Romney in 2012 and Hillary Clinton in 2016. Trump voters who previously voted for Mr. Obama are the subject of intense fascination because they are viewed as providing critical insights into the racial and class dynamics that helped determine the outcome of the election. On the other side, many analysts see Romney voters who flipped to Mrs. Clinton as an illustration of how the Democratic Party now survives in significant part by appealing to more upscale voters. Frustratingly, however, these perspectives play down the importance of a crucial group of disaffected voters, those who voted for Mr. Obama in 2012 but then failed to go to the polls in 2016. Because this group is disproportionately young and black, this erasure is racially tinged. Our analysis shows that while 9% of Obama 2012 voters went for Mr. Trump in 2016, 7%, that's more than 4 million missing voters, stayed home. 3% voted for a third-party candidate. We would hardly urge Democratic strategists to abandon Obama to Trump voters. However, Obama to non-voters are a relatively liberal segment of the country who have largely been ignored. They are mostly young and non-white, and they represent an important part of the Democratic Party's demographic future. Given the likelihood that many Obama to Trump voters will remain in Republican ranks, it is hard to imagine how Democrats can win elections if this group remains on the sidelines. To explore the characteristics and attitudes of these voters, we used data from the Cooperative Congressional Election Study, a large survey with a sample of more than 64,000 adults. We grouped all 2012 voters into one of 5 categories, 3 of which we focus on in this essay: Obama to Trump, Obama to non-voter, and Obama to Clinton. We used validated voter turnout data rather than self-reported turnout, which tends to overstate actual voter participation and which one of us used in a preliminary analysis. So who were the Obama to non-voters? 51% were people of color, compared with 16% of Obama to Trump voters and 34% of Obama to Clinton voters. 23% of Obama to non-voters were under 30, compared with 11% of Obama to Trump voters and 10% of Obama to Clinton voters. More than 60% of Obama to non-voters make less than $50,000 a year, compared with 45% of Obama to Clinton voters and 52% of Obama to Trump voters. Forget the fuss over third parties, their votes were less than a quarter of those cast by 2012 Obama voters who chose Donald Trump or just didn't vote. They went for Obama in 2012. Then, racial composition of 2016 voters, non-voters. They went for Obama in 2012. Then, they went for Obama in 2012. Then, voted for Hillary Clinton. Racial composition of 2016 voters and non-voters. They went for Obama in 2012. Then, before the 2016 election, these voters were often identified as part of the rising American electorate by Democratic strategists who hoped that demographic shifts would be a boon to the party. But these shifts are meaningless if Democrats can't get enough young people of color to the polls. What do Obama to non-voters prefer, policy-wise? Are they more similar to Obama to Clinton voters or to Obama to Trump voters? The answers to these questions have important implications for the future of Democratic Party politics, so we analyzed the preferences of all 3 groups of voters across a broad range of domestic policy areas, including support for a path to citizenship for undocumented immigrants, abortion rights, EPA, regulation of carbon emissions, cuts in domestic spending, an increase in the minimum wage, and an end to mandatory minimums in criminal sentencing, as well as opposition to the repeal of the Affordable Care Act. 2 clear patterns emerged. First, it will come as no surprise that Obama to Trump voters adopt the most conservative positions. In fact, Obama to Trump voters express the most conservative views of any Obama voters in each of the 7 areas examined in this analysis. People who voted for President Obama's re-election and their views on the issues in 2016. Voted for Obama in 2012, then, in 2016, against Obamacare repeal for immigrant path to citizenship for end to mandatory minimum sentences EPA. Should regulate greenhouse gases for increase to federal minimum wage. Voted for Obama in 2012, then, in 2016, for immigrant path to citizenship for an end to mandatory minimum sentences EPA. Should regulate greenhouse gases for an increase to the federal minimum wage. Second, the preferences of Obama to non-voters are almost always closer to the preferences of Obama to Clinton voters than they are to Obama to Trump voters. For example, nearly three-quarters of Obama to Trump voters supported repeal of the ACA, while less than half of Obama to non-voters did. The extremely high degree of support for a repeal of the ACA among Obama to Trump voters clearly played a role in the 2016 election and in the negative reaction to Mr. Obama among this group of voters more broadly. However, considering how strongly Obama to Clinton voters in particular favor the ACA, it is hard to imagine how Democrats could incorporate anti-ACA voters into future Democratic coalitions. Obama to non-voters are most similar to Obama to Clinton voters on the minimum wage, though the proposal draws strong majority support from Obama to Trump voters as well. Obama to Trump voters are most out of line with a Democratic coalition on issues relating to race and gender. They are less supportive of a path to citizenship, and a supermajority, 64%, of Obama to Trump voters support deporting undocumented immigrants. At 72%, Obama to non-voters are also far more in favor of abortion rights than Obama to Trump voters are, 55%. Overall, Obama to non-voters are quite close to the emerging Democratic consensus on issues of class, race, gender, and the environment. Democratic strategists should recognize that Obama to Trump voters do not represent the future of their party. Obama to Trump voters diverge from the Democratic Party on many core issues, and in any case they are not particularly loyal Democrats. Less than one-third of Obama to Trump voters supported Democrats down ballot in 2016, and only 37% identify as Democrats. In stark contrast, Obama to non-voters share the progressive policy priorities of Democrats, and they strongly identify with the Democratic Party. 4 out of every 5 Obama to non-voters identify as Democrats, and 83% reported they would have voted for a Democrat down ballot. A similar share of Obama to non-voters said that they would have voted for Mrs. Clinton had they turned out to vote. In short, while reclaiming some Obama to Trump voters would be a big help to Democratic prospects, re-energizing 2012 Obama voters who stayed home is a more plausible path for the party going forward. Whether Democrats can mobilize these voters is an open question, however. Significantly, only 43% of Obama to non-voters reported being contacted by a candidate in 2016, compared with 66% of Obama to Clinton voters. While analysts have focused on why many conservative voters switched to the Republican Party, a better question might be why a campaign that sought to energize young voters of color failed to do so. That's the question that will decide the future of American politics. Getting these voters to the polls on Election Day is the most important task for progressives. And given their outlook on the important issues of the day, Obama to non-voters are also likely to be easier to mobilize after 2 years of a Trump presidency, never mind 4. Sean McElwee, at Chomsel, is a co-founder of Data for Progress. Jesse H. Rhodes and Brian F. Schaffner are political scientists at the University of Massachusetts, Amherst. Bernard L. Fraga is a political scientist at Indiana University. A version of this op-ed appears in print on March 11, 2018, on page State Route 3 of the New York edition with the headline, "The Missing Obama Millions."